The massive space station called Concordia Prime floated in the darkness between stars. It was bigger than most moons and housed the most important meeting place in the galaxy. Today, the Galactic Council was holding an emergency session, and the air was thick with tension. Representatives from 47 different alien species sat in a giant circular chamber. Each species looked different from the others. The Zephyrians looked like living crystals that sparkled with their own light. The collective members moved as one mind, their bug-like bodies clicking in perfect rhythm. The ancient ethereals floated above their seats, their ghostly forms barely visible. At the center of it all sat the human delegation. There were only 5 humans, looking tiny compared to some of the massive alien representatives around them. Ambassador Sarah Chen sat straight in her chair, her face calm but her eyes alert. She wore a simple black uniform with the Earth symbol on her chest. Speaker Veltar of the Zephyrians stood up. His crystal body flashed with angry red light as he spoke. His voice echoed through the chamber like breaking glass. "We are here because of one problem," Veltar said. "Humans. For 3 years they have been taking systems that do not belong to them. They ignore our laws. They ignore our borders. They take what they want." The other council members made sounds of agreement. Some hissed, others clicked, and a few made deep rumbling noises. The humans sat quietly and listened. "The human expansion must stop," Veltar continued. "They are young and stupid. They do not understand how things work in this galaxy. We have been here for thousands of years. We know what is best." A representative from the collective stood up. Its insect-like head turned toward the humans. When it spoke, hundreds of voices said the same words at the same time. "The collective has watched the humans," the voices said. "They do not follow the proper way. They do not ask permission. They do not pay tribute. They act like they own the galaxy." More agreement came from around the chamber. The humans still said nothing. An ethereal floated forward. Its voice was like wind through empty spaces. "The humans are dangerous. They unite too easily. They work together too well. This is not natural. Most species fight among themselves. Humans do not. This makes them unpredictable." Ambassador Chen finally stood up. The massive chamber fell quiet. Even though she was small compared to most of the aliens around her, something about her made them pay attention. "May I speak?" Chen asked politely. Veltar's crystal body flashed again. "You may listen to our decision. Then you will return to your people with our message." Chen nodded and sat back down. She folded her hands in her lap and waited. Veltar moved to the center of the chamber. His voice became formal and cold. "The Galactic Council has made a decision. Humanity has 72 standard hours to do the following things." He held up one crystal finger. "First, all human ships must leave the disputed systems immediately. All 12 systems that humans have taken must be returned to Council control." A second finger went up. "Second, humanity must stop all expansion. No more human ships may leave their original territory around the star called Sol." A third finger. "Third, humanity must accept Council oversight. Council inspectors will monitor all human activities. Council representatives will approve all human decisions about space travel and colonization." The chamber was completely silent now. Even the usual background sounds of breathing and movement had stopped. "Fourth," Veltar continued, "humanity must pay compensation for their illegal activities. 100,000 tons of refined metals and energy crystals will be delivered to Council worlds every year for the next 50 years. Chen's face did not change, but her hands tightened slightly. "Finally," Veltar said, "humanity will send hostages to ensure they obey these terms. 1,000 humans from important families will live on Council worlds. If humanity breaks these rules, the hostages will be executed." The silence stretched on. Some of the alien representatives leaned forward to see how the humans would react. Others sat back, satisfied that this problem would finally be solved. Chen stood up again. "Is that all?" she asked. "That is all," Veltar said. "Do you understand these terms?" "I understand them perfectly," Chen replied. Her voice was steady and calm. "Good," Veltar said. "What is humanity's answer?" Chen looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of as many representatives as she could. "We will need to consult with Earth," she said. "You will have your answer soon." Some of the aliens made disappointed sounds. They had expected the humans to accept immediately or to beg for better terms. "How long do you need?" Veltar asked. "Not long," Chen said. "We work efficiently." "You have 72 hours total," Veltar reminded her. Not 72 hours to think about it. Understood, Chen said. She turned to the other humans. We should return to our ship. The human delegation stood up and walked toward the exit. None of them looked back. None of them spoke. They just walked out of the chamber like they were leaving a boring meeting. After the humans left, the chamber burst into excited conversation. The aliens talked among themselves in dozens of different languages. They will accept, said a representative from the Molten Worlds. They have no choice. Of course they will, agreed a collective member. They are just one world. We are 47 civilizations. The math is simple. An ethereal drifted closer to Veltar. Do you think they understand how serious this is? It asked. Veltar's crystal body flickered with satisfaction. They are young, but they are not completely stupid. They know they cannot fight the entire galaxy. What if they refuse? Asked a small furry representative from the outer rim. The chamber fell quiet for a moment. Then Veltar laughed, a sound like breaking ice. Then we will show them what happens to species that do not know their place. The Council has destroyed rebellious worlds before. The humans will learn, or they will burn. The other representatives made sounds of agreement. They had seen the Council's power before. Entire civilizations had been wiped out for much smaller offenses than humanity's expansion. Prepare the fleets, Veltar ordered, just in case the humans are foolish enough to refuse. We will show them the price of defying the Council. Meanwhile, on the human ship, Ambassador Chen sat in her private quarters. She was not writing a report or sending messages to Earth. Instead, she was reading a book. It was an old paper book about military strategy. Her assistant knocked on the door. Ambassador? Should I prepare the communication array to contact Earth? Chen looked up from her book and smiled. It was not a happy smile. No need, she said. Earth already knows what happened here. Should I prepare our response? The assistant asked. Our response is already prepared, Chen said. She went back to her book. Everything is already prepared. The assistant left, confused but trusting in his ambassador's wisdom. In her quarters, Chen turned the page and continued reading about the art of war. Outside her window, Concordia Prime floated in space, its lights twinkling like stars. It looked peaceful and beautiful. Chen knew that in a few hours that peace would be shattered forever. The Council thought they were dealing with a young, weak species that would bow to their demands. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The message from Ambassador Chen reached Earth in less than an hour. The quantum communication system sent her words instantly across thousands of light years. But the leaders of Earth were not surprised by what they heard. They had been expecting this day for a long time. In the underground command center beneath Geneva, the United Earth Defense Council was already meeting. President Maria Martinez sat at the head of a long table. Around her sat the most important people on Earth. Admiral Rodriguez commanded the space fleet. General Thompson led the ground forces. Dr. Elizabeth Hoffman was the top expert on alien life and technology. President Martinez read the Council's demands out loud. Her voice was steady, but everyone could see the anger in her eyes. When she finished, the room was quiet. So they want us to crawl back to our little corner and stay there forever, Admiral Rodriguez said. He was an old man with gray hair and scars on his hands from his years as a ship captain. They want us to be their pets. Worse than pets, Dr. Hoffman said. She was younger than the others, with sharp eyes behind thick glasses. Pets are treated with kindness. They want us to be slaves. General Thompson leaned forward. He was a big man with a deep voice. What do we know about their military strength? Dr. Hoffman activated a holographic display above the table. Images of alien ships appeared in the air. The Council has approximately 50,000 warships spread across their territories. Most are old but well-maintained. Their technology is solid but predictable. Predictable how? President Martinez asked. They all follow the same basic principles, Dr. Hoffman explained. Energy shields, plasma weapons, faster than light drives. They have been using the same technology for hundreds of years. They improve it slowly and carefully. Admiral Rodriguez studied the ship images. And our fleet? We have 8,000 ships, the Admiral said. Newer and faster than theirs, but still outnumbered 6-1. In a normal fight, we would lose, General Thompson said bluntly. Good thing this will not be a normal fight, President Martinez said. She pressed a button on the table. Dr. Chen, please join us. A door opened and another woman entered the room. Dr. Lisa Chen was Ambassador Sarah Chen's sister, but she looked very different. Where Sarah was a diplomat who spoke carefully, Lisa was a scientist who spoke in facts and numbers. "Lisa," President Martinez said, "is Project Prometheus ready?" Dr. Chen nodded. "We have been ready for 6 months. All systems are in place and tested. Remind everyone what Prometheus does," the president said. Dr. Chen stood up and gestured to the holographic display. The alien ships disappeared and were replaced by a map of the galaxy. Green dots showed human colonies. Red dots showed council worlds. "For the past 15 years, we have been building a network," Dr. Chen said. "Every time our ships visit a council world for trade, they leave behind small devices. These devices attach themselves to the council's computer networks." The map changed to show thin lines connecting all the red dots. The lines pulsed with soft light. "The devices are invisible to their scanners," Dr. Chen continued. "They look like normal background radiation, but they are actually quantum transmitters connected to our control network." Admiral Rodriguez whistled softly. "How many of their systems do we have access to?" "All of them," Dr. Chen said simply. "We can access every computer, every ship, every defense system, every life support system in council space. We have been watching and learning for 15 years. General Thompson stared at the map. "You mean we can turn off their technology?" "All of it," Dr. Chen confirmed. "With a single command, we can shut down every piece of council technology simultaneously. Their ships, their planets, their space stations, everything." The room fell silent as everyone understood what this meant. Dr. Hoffman spoke first. "How did we manage to infiltrate so completely?" "Their security should have detected something." Dr. Chen smiled. It was the same cold smile her sister had used at the council meeting. "They never looked for it. In their minds, we are a primitive species that just learned to travel between stars. They never imagined we could create technology they could not detect." "What about their own computer experts?" Admiral Rodriguez asked. "They focus on improving existing technology, not looking for new threats," Dr. Chen explained. "Their computer systems have not changed much in centuries. They are powerful but simple. Our quantum infiltration technology is completely outside their experience." President Martinez stood up and walked to the holographic display. She touched one of the red dots, and information appeared showing a council world's population and defenses. "If we activate Prometheus, what exactly happens?" she asked. "Every piece of council technology stops working immediately," Dr. Chen said. "Their ships become floating metal boxes. Their planetary defenses shut down. Their life support systems fail. People will die," General Thompson said quietly. "Some will," Dr. Chen admitted, "but we have prepared for that. Our ships are already positioned near every major council world. We can provide emergency life support and medical aid within hours." "So we destroy their ability to fight, then save their lives," Admiral Rodriguez said. "That sends a message." President Martinez nodded slowly. "What about long-term effects?" "Once we shut their systems down, we control when and how they restart," Dr. Chen explained. "We can turn their technology back on whenever we choose, or we can leave it off forever." Dr. Hoffman leaned back in her chair. "This is brilliant but terrifying. We become the masters of the galaxy overnight." "That is not the goal," President Martinez said firmly. "The goal is to make them understand that conquering us is impossible. Then we can negotiate as equals." "What if they develop countermeasures?" General Thompson asked. Dr. Chen shook her head. "Impossible. Our infiltration is built into the basic structure of their quantum computers. To remove it, they would have to rebuild their entire technological civilization from scratch. That would take centuries." Admiral Rodriguez studied the star map again. "So we hold all the cards. The question is, do we play them?" President Martinez looked around the table at each person. "You all know what is at stake. If we back down now, humanity becomes a servant species forever. Our children and grandchildren will live in cages built by aliens who think they know what is best for us." She pressed another button, and the display changed to show human colonies. "Look at what we have built in just 50 years of space travel. We have colonized 30 systems without enslaving anyone. We have made friends with minor species the Council ignores. We have created new technology that even surprises us. The Council sees that as a threat," Dr. Hoffman said. "Because it is a threat," President Martinez replied. "Not a military threat, but a threat to their way of thinking. They built their power by conquering weaker species. We built our strength by working together as equals. That scares them." General Thompson nodded. "So what do we tell Ambassador Chen to say?" President Martinez smiled, and for the first time it was not a cold smile. It was determined and proud. "We tell her to give them our terms." "Our terms?" Admiral Rodriguez asked. "The Council will withdraw all fleets from human space," President Martinez said. "They will lift all trade restrictions against Earth colonies. They will formally recognize humanity's right to colonize any unclaimed systems. And they will treat us as equal partners, not subjects." The room erupted in surprised voices. "They will never accept that," General Thompson said. "Then we will make them accept it," President Martinez replied. "Dr. Chen, prepare Prometheus for activation. Admiral Rodriguez, move our fleets into position. Dr. Hoffman, prepare the medical ships for rescue operations." She stood up and looked at each person again. "We tried to be peaceful neighbors. We tried to follow their rules. But they want to put us in chains. Today we show them that humanity does not wear chains. And if they call our bluff?" Admiral Rodriguez asked. President Martinez's smile became cold again. "Then we show them it was never a bluff." 24 hours later, the Galactic Council gathered again in the Great Chamber of Concordia Prime. The alien representatives looked confident and relaxed. They expected the humans to accept the Council's demands. Some had even started discussing how to divide up the human territories among themselves. Speaker Veltar's crystal body glowed with satisfaction as he called the session to order. The chamber fell quiet as Ambassador Chen and her delegation entered. The humans looked exactly the same as before, calm, composed, and completely unworried. Chen walked to the center of the chamber and stood in the same spot where Veltar had delivered the Council's ultimatum. She carried a simple datapad in her hands. "Have you reached a decision?" Veltar asked. His voice echoed through the chamber like music made of glass. "We have," Chen replied. Her voice was clear and steady. "And?" Veltar prompted. Chen looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of representatives from dozens of alien species. The government of Earth has carefully considered the Council's generous offer. Some of the aliens leaned forward, eager to hear humanity surrender. "However," Chen continued, "we must respectfully decline." The chamber erupted in shocked voices. The collective members clicked their mandibles in unison. The ethereals made sounds like wind through broken buildings. The crystal Zephyrians flashed with angry light. Veltar raised one hand and the noise died down. "You decline?" he asked. "Perhaps you did not understand the seriousness of our offer." "I understood perfectly," Chen said. "You want humanity to retreat to a few systems around our home star. You want us to stop exploring and growing. You want us to send hostages and pay tribute. You want us to become your subjects." "Yes," Veltar said simply. "That is exactly what we want," Chen nodded. "As I said, we decline." The collective representative stood up, its hundreds of voices speaking as one. "You are one species. We are 47. You cannot fight us all." "Who said anything about fighting?" Chen asked. She looked genuinely confused. An ethereal floated forward. "If you will not accept our terms, then we will force you to accept them." Chen smiled. It was a small, polite smile that somehow made several aliens step backward. "Actually, we have our own terms to present." The chamber fell completely silent. The idea that humans would make demands was so unexpected that no one knew how to react. Chen consulted her datapad. "First, all Council fleets will withdraw from human space immediately. This includes the blockade ships currently positioned around our colonies." Gasps and angry hisses came from around the chamber. "Second," Chen continued, "all trade sanctions against Earth and human colonies will be lifted permanently." More outraged sounds. "Third, the Galactic Council will formally recognize humanity's sovereignty over all systems we currently occupy, and our right to colonize any unclaimed systems in the future." Now the aliens were standing up and shouting. Some made threatening gestures. Others demanded that the humans be arrested immediately. "Fourth," Chen said, raising her voice to be heard over the noise, "the Council will treat humanity as an equal partner in all galactic affairs, with full voting rights and representation." The shouting became deafening. Veltar had to use his crystal body's light to flash a blinding strobe before the chamber quieted down. "This is madness," Veltar said. His voice was no longer musical. It sounded like breaking stone. "You dare to make demands of us? You are nothing. You are insects compared to our power." Chen's smile never wavered. "We are one world that has never needed to conquer others to survive. You might want to consider what that means." A representative from the molten worlds laughed, a sound like lava bubbling. It means you are weak and naive. It means you do not understand how the galaxy really works. Perhaps, Chen said, or perhaps it means we understand things you do not. The collective representative clicked forward on its insect legs. You have no leverage. You have no power. Why should we accept any of your ridiculous demands? Chen looked directly at the bug-like alien. Because if you do not, the consequences will be unpleasant. The chamber erupted in laughter. The idea that humans could threaten the Galactic Council seemed absurd to most of the representatives. Veltar's crystal form flashed with amusement. Unpleasant for whom? You have 8,000 ships. We have 50,000. Your technology is centuries behind ours. What exactly do you think you can do to us? Chen put away her datapad and clasped her hands behind her back. That is an excellent question. Would you like a demonstration? A demonstration of what? Veltar asked. Of what happens when you underestimate humanity, Chen replied. An ethereal drifted closer. You would attack this station? Here surrounded by our fleets? Attack? Chen looked genuinely surprised. Why would we attack anything? Violence is so inefficient. The aliens looked confused. They were used to threats involving weapons and warfare. Chen's calm confidence was unsettling in a way they did not understand. Then what are you threatening? Asked a small, furry representative from the Outer Rim. I am not threatening anything, Chen said. I am simply pointing out that you have made certain assumptions about humanity that may not be correct. Veltar's patience was running out. His crystal body flashed bright red. Enough of this nonsense. You have 72 hours to accept our terms. If you refuse, we will send our fleets to your colonies. We will bombard your worlds until you surrender. We will make an example of humanity that the galaxy will never forget. Chen nodded thoughtfully. That is certainly one option. But before you make that decision, you might want to ask yourselves a question. What question? Veltar demanded. If humanity is as weak and primitive as you believe, how did we know about your secret fleet movements? The chamber fell silent. Several aliens exchanged worried glances. What are you talking about? Veltar asked. Chen's smile became wider. Admiral Thexmore of the Collective has been moving ships toward our border for the past week. The Zephyrian battle fleet left their home system yesterday. The ethereal strike force is currently hiding in the Void Nebula, waiting for orders. The representatives of those species looked shocked. Their fleet movements were supposed to be secret. You have spies, the Collective representative said, do we? Chen asked. Or do we have something else? What are you implying? Veltar demanded. Chen looked around the chamber one more time. I am implying that you do not know us as well as you think you do. I am implying that your assumptions about human capabilities may be incomplete. She turned toward the exit, then stopped and looked back. You have 24 hours to consider our terms. After that, we will be forced to take other measures. What measures? Veltar shouted. Chen paused at the entrance to the chamber. The kind of measures that one species with superior technology takes when dealing with 47 species with inferior technology. Impossible. Veltar's crystal form blazed with fury. Our technology is thousands of years more advanced than yours. Chen turned back one final time. Her smile was gone now, replaced by something that made even the largest aliens in the chamber feel suddenly small. Is it? She asked quietly. Then she and her delegation walked out, leaving behind a chamber full of aliens who were no longer quite as confident as they had been an hour before. After the humans left, the chamber exploded into arguments. Some representatives demanded immediate military action. Others called for investigation into how the humans had learned about secret fleet movements. A few suggested that maybe they should consider the human terms, but underneath all the arguing was a new feeling that none of them wanted to admit. For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Council was afraid. The Galactic Council's response came exactly 24 hours later. It was not what Ambassador Chen had hoped for, but it was exactly what she had expected. The message was simple and direct. The Council rejects all human demands. Prepare for war. Within hours, the largest military fleet in galactic history began moving toward human space. Admiral Thexmore of the Collective commanded over 2,000 warships from dozens of different species. The fleet was so massive that it took 6 hours just for all the ships to leave their staging area. Admiral Thexmore stood on the bridge of his flagship, an enormous vessel called the Crusher of Worlds. His insect-like head turned to study the tactical displays showing his fleet's position. Never before had so many council species worked together for military action. "The humans have 12 systems," he said to his staff officers. "We will take them one by one. We will show the galaxy what happens to species that defy the council." His communications officer, a crystalline Zephyrian, flickered with excitement. "The first human colony is only 6 hours away at maximum speed." "Good." Thexmore clicked his mandibles. "We will arrive, demand their surrender, and when they refuse, we will bombard their cities until they beg for mercy." But as the fleet approached the outer edge of human space, something began to go wrong. It started small. A navigation computer would freeze for a few seconds, or a weapons system would run a diagnostic check for no reason. The problems were minor and different on each ship, so no one paid much attention. Then the problems got worse. On the Zephyrian battlecruiser Crystal Spear, the artificial gravity failed in 3 different sections at the same time. On the ethereal destroyer Windwalker, the life support system began producing air that smelled like flowers instead of the sulfur compounds that ethereals needed to breathe properly. Admiral Thexmore frowned as reports came in from across the fleet. "These problems make no sense," he said. "Random system failures on ships from different species with different technologies? That should be impossible." His tactical officer, an enormous creature from the Molten Worlds, rumbled his agreement. "Perhaps the humans have some kind of sabotage weapon?" "Impossible," Thexmore replied. "Their technology is primitive. They barely know how to build faster than light engines. But the problems kept getting worse. Ships reported that their computers were running programs that no one had installed. Weapon systems were targeting empty space and firing at nothing. Environmental controls were playing music instead of regulating temperature. Then it happened. Every single ship in the fleet stopped moving at exactly the same moment. 2,000 warships representing the greatest military force in galactic history simply hung motionless in space like dead metal sculptures. "What is happening?" Thexmore demanded. "Why have we stopped?" His navigation officer's voice was filled with panic. "Sir, the engines are not responding. None of the engines on any ship are responding." "That is impossible." Thexmore clicked his mandibles rapidly, a sign of extreme stress. "Check all systems." The reports came back quickly, and they were all the same. "Engines offline. Weapons offline. Shields offline. Life support systems beginning to fail throughout the fleet." "Sir," his communications officer said, her crystal body flickering with fear, "I am receiving distress calls from every ship in the fleet. Every single system is shutting down simultaneously." Thexmore stared at his tactical display in horror. Red warning lights were appearing next to the icons representing his ships. One by one, 2,000 warships were going dark. "This cannot be happening," he whispered. Then every screen in his command center activated at once. The image that appeared showed a human male in a military uniform, standing on what was clearly the bridge of a human starship. The man looked middle-aged with gray hair and calm eyes. "This is Admiral Rodriguez of the United Earth Defense Force," the human said. His voice was transmitted to every ship in the Council fleet simultaneously. "I am speaking to you from the bridge of the Earth vessel Defiant." Thexmore tried to respond, but his communication system was no longer under his control. "Your fleet has been disabled by our neural disruption network," Admiral Rodriguez continued. "This is technology that you did not know existed because you never bothered to truly understand us." Behind the Admiral, Thexmore could see human officers working at control stations. They looked calm and professional, as if disabling the galaxy's most powerful fleet was just another day's work. "Let me explain what has happened," Rodriguez said. "For the past 15 years, every time our merchant ships visited your worlds, they left behind small quantum devices. These devices integrated themselves into your computer networks without your knowledge. The camera view expanded to show a holographic display of the galaxy. Thousands of thin lines connected different star systems, all leading back to human space. We now have complete access to every computer system in Council territory," Rodriguez continued. "Every ship, every space station, every planetary defense grid, every life support system. We can control all of it with a simple command." Thexmore felt his compound eyes widen in terror. The implications were staggering. "Your crews are currently experiencing life support failures," Rodriguez said. "In approximately 30 minutes, the air in your ships will become unbreathable. However, we are not monsters. The view changed to show human ships approaching the disabled Council fleet. Dozens of Earth vessels were moving toward the stranded warships. "We are sending medical aid and emergency life support to your crews," Rodriguez explained. "Our rescue teams will ensure that no one dies today, because unlike some species, we do not kill helplessly defenseless opponents." Thexmore tried again to activate his communications, but nothing worked. He was forced to listen helplessly as the human admiral continued. "I want to make something very clear," Rodriguez said. "This demonstration represents only a tiny fraction of our capabilities. Every piece of technology in your civilizations, from your computers to your life support systems to your planetary power grids, can be turned off with a thought." The holographic display changed to show Council worlds throughout the galaxy. Each world was marked with indicators showing power plants, defense systems, and communication networks. "We have been in your networks for decades," Rodriguez continued. "Learning, watching, preparing. We know how your technology works better than you do. We can disable individual systems, entire planets, or your whole civilization." Thexmore slumped in his command chair as the full scope of humanity's infiltration became clear. They had been playing a game while the Council thought they were fighting a war. "But we do not want to destroy you," Rodriguez said. "We want to coexist with you. The galaxy is vast enough for all of us to prosper, but only if we work together instead of trying to dominate each other." Human rescue ships had reached the Council fleet now. Thexmore could see them docking with his disabled vessels, providing air and medical aid to crews that were choking in the darkness. "You see weapons and conquest because that is all you have ever known," Rodriguez continued. "We see networks and connections. Your strength has always been your weakness. You built your power by conquering others, so you never learned to truly cooperate. We built our strength through unity and cooperation, so we learned to think differently." The Admiral's expression became more serious. "Today you learned that technological superiority is not about having the biggest guns or the fastest ships. It is about understanding systems and connections that others cannot even see." The transmission began to fade, but Rodriguez's final words came through clearly. "Your technology will be restored once you return to your home systems and think carefully about what happened here. But remember, this network is permanent. We can activate it again at any time. The choice of whether we remain friends or whether you force us to become something else is entirely up to you." The screens went dark, leaving Thexmore alone with his thoughts and the sound of human rescue teams working to save his crews. For the first time in his military career, the Admiral of the galaxy's greatest fleet understood what it meant to be completely and utterly defeated, without firing a single shot. Around him, human voices could be heard providing medical aid and emergency oxygen to Council species who had come to conquer them. The irony was not lost on anyone. The age of Council supremacy was over. The question now was what would take its place. The news of the fleet's defeat spread across the galaxy faster than anyone thought possible. Within hours, every Council world knew that their greatest military force had been disabled without firing a single shot. The reaction was immediate and devastating. On the crystal world of Zephyr Prime, millions of Zephyrians gathered in the great plaza outside their government building. Their bodies flickered with confused and frightened light as they tried to understand what had happened. Their leaders had told them that humans were primitive and weak. Now those same leaders had no explanations to offer. In the hive cities of the collective, the unified mind that had ruled for millennia began to fracture. Different groups started thinking independent thoughts for the first time in centuries. If humans could disable their technology so easily, what else had the collective been wrong about? The Ethereal Council met in emergency session on their home world, floating in circles as they tried to comprehend the situation. They had existed for thousands of years and had never encountered a species that could threaten them without violence. The very concept was alien to their understanding. But nowhere was the panic worse than on Concordia Prime. The massive space station that housed the Galactic Council became a chaos of frightened aliens arguing and shouting at each other. Representatives demanded answers that their leaders could not provide. Speaker Veltar stood in the center of the great chamber, his crystal body flickering with unstable light. For the first time in his long life, he did not know what to say. The Council had always ruled through superior technology and military force. Now both advantages were gone. "How is this possible?" demanded the representative from the Molten Worlds. "Our technology is thousands of years more advanced than theirs. Apparently it is not, replied an ethereal, its ghostly voice filled with bitter irony. They must have stolen our technology, insisted a collective member. There is no other explanation, but deep down they all knew the truth. Humanity had not stolen anything. They had simply been smarter. The emergency session continued for hours, but no solutions emerged. Some representatives called for immediate surrender. Others demanded that they find a way to fight back. Most just sat in stunned silence, trying to process the fact that their entire worldview had been shattered in a single day. Then the reports started coming in from across the galaxy. Human ships were appearing at every council world, but not as conquerors. They came as teachers and helpers. On the industrial world of Forge, where the air had been poisoned by centuries of manufacturing, human environmental engineers arrived with new atmospheric processors. They began cleaning the air and water without being asked, and without demanding payment. On the agricultural world of Green Haven, which had been suffering from crop failures, human scientists shared new farming techniques that could increase food production by 300%. On the research station of Deep Thought, human physicists shared mathematical equations that solved problems the Council's best scientists had been working on for decades. Everywhere they went, the humans offered help instead of conquest. They shared knowledge instead of hoarding it. They worked alongside other species instead of ruling over them. The reports confused and frightened the Council representatives even more than the military defeat had. This was not how conquering species were supposed to behave. What do they want from us? Asked a representative from the Outer Rim colonies. I do not understand their motives, admitted a Zephyrian counselor. If they can control our technology, why do they not simply take control of our worlds? It was Speaker Veltar who finally found the courage to ask the question that was on everyone's mind. Perhaps we should ask them directly. The chamber fell silent. The idea of requesting a meeting with the humans, treating them as equals rather than subjects, was revolutionary. You want to negotiate with them? Asked an ethereal representative. What choice do we have? Veltar replied. His crystal body had stopped flickering and now glowed with steady, resigned light. They have demonstrated that they can destroy our civilization whenever they choose. But instead of destroying us, they are helping us. I do not understand this, but I think we need to learn. The vote was close, but eventually the Council agreed to request a meeting with the human leadership. The message was sent to Earth, carefully worded to avoid sounding like either a surrender or a threat. The response came from Ambassador Chen, who was still aboard her ship near Concordia Prime. She would meet with the Council, but this time the meeting would be held aboard a human vessel. 2 days later, Speaker Veltar found himself in the strangest situation of his long life. He was sitting in a conference room aboard a human starship, surrounded by technology he could not understand, facing creatures he had underestimated so completely that the memory still caused him shame. Ambassador Chen sat across from him, her expression calm and professional. Next to her sat Admiral Rodriguez, the human who had disabled the Council's greatest fleet. But instead of looking triumphant, the Admiral seemed almost sad. Thank you for coming, Chen said politely. I know this must be difficult for you. Veltar's crystal body flickered weakly. We need to understand. What do you want from us? Chen looked surprised by the question. What we have always wanted. Partners, not subjects. Trade, not tribute. Cooperation, not domination. But you could take anything you want, Veltar said. You control our technology. You could make us your slaves. Admiral Rodriguez spoke for the first time. Why would we want slaves? Slaves are not productive. Slaves do not innovate. Slaves do not contribute anything valuable to civilization. Then what do you consider valuable? Veltar asked. Chen smiled, and for the first time it was a warm and genuine expression. Ideas, knowledge, art, music, stories, the things that make life worth living. Every species in the galaxy has something unique to contribute. The Zephyrians create the most beautiful crystal sculptures we have ever seen. The collective's hive mind produces mathematical insights that individual minds cannot achieve. The ethereals understand energy manipulation in ways that amaze our scientists. She gestured around the conference room. This ship uses technology that combines human quantum computers with ethereal energy systems and collective mathematical algorithms. It is better than anything any of us could have built alone. Veltar was quiet for a long moment, processing this information. And if we refuse to cooperate? Then you refuse, Chen said simply. We will not force you, but we will also not allow you to force us. The network that disabled your fleet will remain active. If any Council species attacks human colonies, their technology will be shut down until they stop. You would hold us hostage, Veltar said. No, Admiral Rodriguez replied. We would defend ourselves. There is a difference. What about our sovereignty? Veltar asked. Our right to govern our own worlds? You will govern your worlds exactly as you always have, Chen said. We have no interest in ruling other species. We just want to be left alone to explore and grow, the same as everyone else. Veltar's crystal body began to glow brighter as he understood what the humans were offering. You want peace. We want peace, Chen agreed. But peace between equals, not peace between masters and servants. The Speaker of the Galactic Council sat quietly for several minutes, thinking about everything that had happened. His people had ruled the galaxy through fear and superior technology for thousands of years. But now they had encountered a species that was not afraid, and whose technology was clearly superior to their own. More importantly, these humans did not seem interested in revenge or domination. They wanted something that the Council had never truly understood: genuine cooperation between independent species. What would this partnership look like? Veltar asked finally. Chen activated a holographic display that showed the galaxy with trade routes and communication networks connecting hundreds of worlds. Like this. Open trade between all species, shared scientific research, cultural exchange, joint exploration of unknown regions, each species contributing their strengths to benefit everyone. And if conflicts arise between species, we mediate them together, Admiral Rodriguez said. No one species gets to make decisions for everyone else. Problems are solved through discussion and compromise, not through military force. Veltar studied the holographic galaxy for a long time. It looked peaceful and prosperous in a way that the current Council-dominated system never had. This would mean the end of the Council as we know it, he said. Yes, Chen agreed, and the beginning of something better. Veltar made his decision. His crystal body flashed once with bright, clear light, the Zephyrian equivalent of a nod. I will recommend that the Council accept your terms, he said. Not because we have no choice, but because I think you might be right. 6 months later, the new Galactic Partnership held its first meeting aboard a massive space station built jointly by human, Zephyrian collective and ethereal engineers. Representatives from over 100 species worked together to establish laws that protected everyone's rights while encouraging cooperation and growth. The age of empires was over. The age of partnership had begun, and in the deep monitoring stations scattered throughout human space, automated systems continued their patient watch.